Welcome back to another episode of the Unknown Sports Podcast. My name is AJ Musser. Joined with me, as usual, is Hunter Harris and Austin Fyffe. Guys, I feel like the NFL season's flying by. We're 4 weeks in, and I feel like I haven't watched a darn thing yet. We're close to Thursday, which means that it's time to do the podcast. Hunter?
Are we sure that's not you playing baseball literally every single Sunday?
That's definitely what's preventing me from watching the games. That's 100% accurate. Yes, I think there was 3 games this Sunday outside of like the primetime games that were at like the 3:00 window, and my game was at noon, so I didn't get to see the majority of the games live. So that kind of was a bummer.
Austin, you look great today, man.
Thanks, dude. I got a haircut, shaved, I'm looking fresh.
Can't tell.
Fresca. Oh, yeah.
For those of our audio listeners, which is 95% of people listen to this, Austin doesn't have a camera today, so if you hop over to the YouTube, you can't see him there either. So you may also watch the YouTube this week if you want to.
Transition. Hunter, can you introduce today's beer of the day? Mine seems to have gone missing.
That's strange, man. This week we got the Bells. Okay, you're gonna have to help me pronounce this again because I stumbled through it last time. Oberon?
No. Oh no.
Oberon?
Oof. Oberon. There you go. Oh, that's disgraceful. I'm sorry, Bells.
I led the training at work on Monday, and I tried to spell several different words out on the whiteboard as I was doing the training. My grammar sucks, man. You can't read or write. Bell's is actually one of my favorite breweries, though. I don't know if you knew this, AJ.
What other of their products do you enjoy?
So the Two-Hearted Ale, very popular drink, of course. My actual favorite beer actually comes from Bell's, though. They have. So I had about a couple years ago at a random bar. They have this beer called the Lager of the Lakes. Literally the best lager I've ever had in my life, and I can't find it anywhere to save my life now.
Wow, maybe you should shout out Oberon. Maybe they'll send you a 6-pack. That'd be the first time we ever got something from a brewing company that we didn't pay for.
If you're gonna enjoy this with me, let's take a sip.
Yes.
Man.
Yeah. I'm actually really jealous right now because I wish I had mine. But
what happened
drank
to yours, man?
Oh, someone stumbled upon it and decided it looked tasty.
Some alcoholic just opened your fridge.
No,
and was like,
no.
I'm helping myself tonight.
I just thought it was funny that she didn't know it was for the podcast when she was with us when we picked it out.
Carly, you got a problem? This is your intervention?
Her problem is just drinking beer that she's not allowed to drink.
You've dipped into the podcast beers. It's gone too far. We need to talk.
She doesn't have a problem. She's just fine. All right, let's talk about football from last week. Let's talk about the kind of biggest thing going around the NFL right now is last Thursday night's game, or Sunday's game, I'm sorry. Miami and Cincinnati, the Tua injury. Did you guys see Tua go down?
First time. It was Thursday.
Yeah, it was Thursday. You were right.
Sorry. It was Thursday. It's been a long one.
You watched it. That's how
I did watch it.
That's crazy that that's the biggest story in the NFL now that we are a day removed from Monday Night Football too. So like we had all these games happen and it's still the conversation topics too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
it's a big deal.
When you put a dude's life at jeopardy and then what you fear could potentially happens, just so that you might be able to win a game and get to 4-0. Shows you, hopefully for Tua's sake, he's all right.
Yeah, let's hope so. I did read that the independent neurologist that the team used or the NFLPA used was fired, the one that cleared Tua to play. So he's gone. And that, like, for people that don't know, that head injury came 4 days after a very confusing back injury that people kind of interpreted it as a head injury as well. So it wasn't even like on a full week's rest. It was literally like 4 days later that the guy goes down with this issue again. 96 hours.
Yeah.
To be precise.
I mean, it was clearly not a head or not a back injury. the whole way through. Everybody was calling BS on that last week.
Yeah, that's what the story was last week leading into Thursday night, is that everyone was like, they say back, but I don't think that's back. And then he goes down and has the head injury that he has, and it's horrific. And now everyone's, and I don't know if you guys noticed this Sunday, but independent neurologists were kept pulling guys out of games left and right for head injuries.
Left and right.
Lots
All
of
over
them.
the place.
Yep.
All
of a sudden anything close became, yes, you have it.
Yep. And that's honestly how this should be. Like, I don't understand how there shouldn't be any gray area. If it's gray, then you pull him. If you have too many of these concussions, not only could it lead to brain damage and or death, right now, the long-term effects we've seen time and time again. And yes, while these are, kind of extreme examples, guys like Junior Seau, that end up taking their own lives because they can't deal with the post-traumatic, stress that was placed upon their bodies because they had no idea what to do. And so they just kept playing. The fact that this is any sort of debate at all between people is absolutely crazy to me.
I agree with you. You got to pull them off the field for their own safety.
When was that Junior Seau thing? When did that happen? Was that 20 years ago now?
No, it hasn't been that long. But it's been like time.
10 to 15 years.
It just blows my mind how long we've known about CTE and how little the NFL has done to fix anything with the situation.
Junior Seau was 10 years ago this year.
10 years ago. So, I mean, that's more than enough time.
Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable.
And they knew it was around before that, too.
Yeah. It's just, and I've had my back lock up, which was the alleged injury. I literally lock up. I on the floor have to go to a doctor and be carried out of my room. Never once during that process did I shake my head and have to stumble across while still maintaining my balance. When your back totally locks up, it locks up. Like, you can't function. I've also had a concussion where, you shake your head and you try to regain, clarity in your vision, and you're seeing spots and everything else, and you're stumbling. One of those two explanations sounds a lot like what happened to Tua last weekend, and one of them really doesn't. And I don't understand how this possibly could have been snuck through.
I don't recall this concussion of yours. It probably didn't actually happen, you liar.
I think you only caused one of my two.
Okay. Well, I don't know about the second one, so anyway. All right, let's move on. That's just something to keep an eye on, and for listeners as well. Tua has already been ruled out for this Sunday's action.
Will there be any fallout from this? Probably not.
There's investigations going on now, so in time we will find out.
I really do think this is, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I guess in some way it's a good thing. I do think this will become sort of a poster child type event. I do think there will be lots of people losing their jobs, whether or not they were directly involved with it, and it's actually going to change anything. Maybe not. But I do think there's going to be significant change from this.
All right. Next game on our list is AFC South matchup, Tennessee at Indianapolis. Hunter, your Colts, dude, they're just struggling. That Indianapolis to me looks like a team that's stuck in week one and just trying to figure out what their team is and how they play. And then on top of it, late in the game, Jonathan Taylor leaves the game with a high ankle sprain. Tennessee, though, Derrick Henry looking like the old Derrick Henry. He's got that quick step, got the explosiveness. I locked this one up. So AJ's back on the board. And it looks like I beat both of you last week with the lock. So I think I'm right back in this thing now.
Yeah. I'm 100% out on the Colts now. Like, I was holding out hope there for a while, but after watching what that offense did against Tennessee, man, it's bad. I literally went out to that state even to support them. I drove to the state just to support the Colts this weekend. Nothing changed. That offense literally cannot move the football. The way that they won that Chiefs game, like I'm at the point now where I'm starting to be like, was that game a little bit rigged there with the way that the money was set and everything, and how the Colts moved the ball that game? Like they literally don't even have an offense. It's terrible. And now with Jonathan Taylor out, they don't even have that. It's bad.
Go ahead, Austin.
Yeah, they're the worst. They're poorly coached. They were poorly assembled. Watching
Austin gets his Ballard rant.
Dude, yeah, I'm not gonna do it because it's pointless. He's getting fired. It's just whether or not it's during the season or after the season. It doesn't matter. Frank Reich's getting fired. It doesn't matter if it's during the season or after the season. It's gonna be a complete rebuild. It's a problem from Ballard down. It just is what it is at this point. The offensive line is terrible. You have Quentin Nelson and then trash around him. So Quentin Nelson is now getting a lot of flack online because he's trying to cover tons of other things that are going on. And then it looks like he's the one getting beat when he's really just trying to recover for other people's mistakes. And then people are starting to come after Quentin Nelson, which is the least of their problems. Not having any wide receivers, absolutely getting murdered up front. It's really hard to win when you're averaging 2 yards a carry for Jonathan Taylor on 20 carries.
Tough go right now, especially like if that team can't run the ball, they can't do anything. And right now they can't pass they just can't do anything offensively. Their only hope is that the defense keeps them in the game, which they kind of have in every game because the Colts haven't gotten blown out yet. But this offense, and I looked earlier, the Colts are averaging 14 points a season, which is the lowest in the NFL. I mean, Austin, your Bears are outscoring them every week.
Darn right we are.
I'm looking here. I'm struggling to find it. Maybe you can buy me some time. Oh, never mind. Matt Ryan right now has got 5 passing touchdowns this season to go with 5 interceptions, 15 sacks. And then I think he's got like 4 fumbles as well, but I'll have to look somewhere else for that one.
And I did want to say as well, we talked about Shaq Leonard being back last week
a
little bit. Dude, he got hurt again. I don't know if you guys saw this. It just came out. Broken nose and concussion last week. This poor guy can't catch a break.
No, he can't.
No. Matt Ryan with also 3 fumbles on the season. So he's got 8 turnovers himself.
So good at the drop back and get hit from the blind side. So good at it. Gotta say that every week.
I think that's enough on this game, though. We can move on. Next, we've got the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Philadelphia Eagles. Jacksonville started out pretty hot in this one. Started out with a 14-0 lead, and then Philly just kind of kicked it into gear, and Jalen Hurts kind of carried this Eagles team to a dub. What did you guys think? I think actually, before I talk Philly up any, I think the big problem with Jacksonville in this game, they didn't even look too bad, but the big story of the game for them was 4 lost fumbles for Trevor Lawrence. And I saw that there's never been a player to lose 4 fumbles in one game and finish the game.
Wow.
Until Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of the battle of who's going to make the quarterback do what they don't want to do. And Jacksonville did a great job of that early, making Jalen Hurts really move through progressions that it resulted in a pick 6. He looked frazzled. They looked like they had nothing going on offense. And then all of a sudden they started running the ball a little bit, and then everything kind of opened up for Hurts. He could get his easy throws going, and then it gained his confidence to come back in this. But Lawrence, this is essentially his rookie year again. If anybody in the history of football gets a redo on their rookie year, it's Lawrence after that absolute garbage fire with Urban Meyer last year. So
yeah,
let him grow, let him learn the fact that they're already performing as well as they are. I think they got something building.
And he looked solid in this game too. If you take those turnovers away, the fumbles, which obviously it's a kind of a massive portion because it's 4 drives that you walk away with no points because your quarterback loses the football.
Yep.
But other than that, like he passing the ball and, working the ball downfield, he didn't look bad. he hasn't been bad at all this season. He's been solid. I'm not saying he's elite or top 10 or anything, but he looks like a good young quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, I'll continue to be forgiving with Lawrence whenever he has these types of games. I mean, this is a really bad example. He threw a pick as well, so technically 5 turnovers in this game for him. But my thing is, when you get out to a lead like that and you are gifted 14 points basically right off the – well, not gifted. When you earn 14 points right off the start of the game, you have to kind of change how you're running things offensively. And the Jaguars, they've been a run-oriented team. James Robinson only got 8 carries in this game, and I know they were turning the ball over, and it kind of became an Eagles lead. When did they take the lead there? By the end of the second quarter, right? I believe they.
Yep.
I think so. Yeah, the game turned around pretty quickly. Yeah,
it turned around pretty quickly, but that doesn't mean you leave your identity and forget who you are. You stick with running the football.
Yeah, this was a classic coach being smarter, or Tim trying to be smarter than he is. And it's, they think we're going to run, so we're going to surprise them and pass a bunch instead of just doing what you're good at, like you said, Hunter. They abandoned it way too quickly, and it ended up costing them big time.
When you're the team that comes from behind and wins the game, you shouldn't have 50 rush attempts in the game compared to the other team's 19 that had the lead when they started the game. That's terrible. 50. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Next on the list, we've got the Buffalo Bills at the Baltimore Ravens. Another blown lead for the Baltimore Ravens this season. What did you guys make of this one? This is definitely one that I did not catch much of the action. / any.
Dude, the Ravens lost this game. I don't think the Bills took this game, and I think the Ravens straight up lost this game. How many years are we into this now where they're just following the analytics on basically every decision that they make, and it screws them over again and again and again? I don't get it. Austin?
I don't think it screws them over. I don't have a problem with the analytics. I have a problem when people, and Baltimore is guilty of this, almost fully following them without using any head. So that I have no problem with them going for it on fourth down. That's who it is. Their team plays aggressive. Sometimes it bites them in the butt. I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is watching that game. Lamar Jackson was gassed. He had nothing left once they got in goal to go for that drive. Nothing. He couldn't use his legs. He couldn't do anything. If you're going to go 4th and 1 with Lamar, you have got to have his legs involved in that play. And he didn't have anything. Even when he tried to scramble and threw that jump ball there, ended up throwing the interception, he couldn't even get around a defensive tackle. He had nothing left. He was scrambling around there trying to run for his life and didn't have anything there. And if you can't run your offense properly, you kind of have to ignore the analytics.
When I watch the Chiefs play and they run, what's the best word for that? Chicanery. Whenever they run the BS, whatever it is, they decide they're going to, on 4th and goal, just randomly decide to go for a touchdown. They always have some play up their sleeve. This was the 4th and goal was literally just a Lamar drop back.
Yep.
What the heck was that?
It's because he didn't have anything.
Yeah.
He was dead.
The idea that you even go for it on 4th down there is a terrible decision given the situation. You want to go up by 3 points there. But I don't know why these teams decide to just say analytics are what we're going with, and we're following that no matter what. Don't take into the situation of the fact that Lamar's gassed, that they have been basically completely stopped offensively for the entire second half. I don't understand the motivation behind it, and they lost the game because of it. And it was a big one. Big game.
The podcast I listened to, Hunter, all of those points that you said, they had said as well. So very professional on your part and spot on analysis. Well done. Let's move on. Austin, quick question. Little behind the curtain for the listeners. Is the green ones the one we're going over, or the yellow ones?
The green ones are the ones.
The green ones. All right. Next on the list is the New England Patriots at the Green Bay Packers. Little Bailey Zappi action for anyone? I know we went into this game thinking Brian Hoyer versus Aaron Rodgers, the battle of the gods, but Brian Hoyer, one of the quarterbacks this weekend, or one of the players this weekend that leaves the game concussion protocol, and rookie Bailey Zappi gets to step in and has a bit of a day and takes the Packers to overtime at Lambeau. That'd be a pretty cool
day.
That'd be a hey, dude. What did you go? 10 of 13 or 9 of 13 for 99 yards and a touchdown. That's not too bad for a guy that's a third string quarterback and has been getting probably no reps at practice until Mac Jones went down, and then gets thrown into this game when Brian Hoyer goes down. And
I mean,
takes the Packers to takes the Packers to overtime.
I mean, he is getting scout team reps. So I mean, he's
it's not reps with the ones.
No, it's not reps with the ones, but he wasn't getting reps with the ones this week.
That's true. I mean,
yeah. So I first of all, first NFL rookie quarterback to throw a touchdown this year, Bailey Zappi, just like we all thought.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty good. My only note on this game is that Green Bay sucks. I'm so tired of talking about them, how they freaking figure out to win games against crappy teams. I'm so over it. They always get to play the backup quarterback. They always get to freaking have everything break their way and figure out how to win these games. If Belichick wouldn't have folded under himself and had no balls to make any calls to let his quarterback make any plays, they would have won this game easily.
Now, I know I just praised Bailey Zappi quite a bit. He is definitely a third round or late round, mid round, whatever. He's not a top rookie quarterback by any means. The guy's not like great. I just wanted to hype him up because he had a solid outing.
The NCAA in passing last year. Okay, so put some respect on his name.
Dang,
I did.
Really?
I just praised him a little bit.
Give him for Mike Leach?
No, he was Western Kentucky, I believe.
Dang, I was about to become the biggest Bailey Zappi fan.
But I liked him in this game.
He wasn't asked to do anything though. Like, why? How could you what you saw from him when he didn't have to make? He got asked to make one third down throw. I remember, and they gave him a slant for it. So super complicated there. But he wasn't asked to do anything, and the Packers just coasted all the way through the rest of this game to just get a game-winning field goal at the end. I feel like we weren't even trying to push the ball down the field to win that game. We just tried to coast to the end, which is what we do every single year throughout the regular season, like 6 times. We'll have games where we come out, we're ready to play, and you can see it like that, like immediately. And then there's other games where we come out, and we are completely flat. We're playing an inferior team. We're at home. Screw it. We're just going to sleepwalk through this game and hope we end up with a win at the end. And that's what happened in this game. I still think we're moving in the right direction. We just have to add that playmaker. I like that Romeo Doubs is actually starting to look like that playmaker. But they're not bad, Austin. How can you say they're bad?
Because I watch them play football.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of confidence in any Packers games going forward for the Packers until they prove me wrong. I agree with what you're saying, though, Hunter. Like, Doubs is looking like he could, kind of fill in a little bit of that missing Devontae role. Like, obviously, he's not going to fill the Devontae role. There is no filling it. It's the best receiver in football. But Doubs is looking kind of nice and not like a nice little rookie prospect that could, be a solid NFL receiver. It's just that, the run game is hit or miss. The passing game is hit or miss. And actually, I don't even think it's ever a hit. I think it's just always like meh, because there's just no consistency for Rodgers because he's just always pouting about how he's got no one to throw the ball to.
This is going to be the most typical Packers season ever. They're going to scroll their way to a freaking 12-win season because there's nobody to play them. The NFC's trashed, and they're going to get whopped the first time they play a good team.
I
agree with you. They're going to lose in the playoffs.
Still. This year's different.
No, it's not.
I say that too, Hunter. That's not good news for you.
Hunter, it might be different in the fact that I can see the playoff loss coming a mile away.
Okay. Light me on fire when that happens, honestly.
Okay, cool.
Because I really think this team's different.
Okay.
Bailey Zappi, 69% completion percentage in college, 5,900 yards, 62 touchdowns, all last season.
Heck yeah.
62 touchdowns in this season. That's nuts. Next on the list is the Kansas City Chiefs at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Another quarterback who I don't think has a great team this season is Tom Brady down in Tampa. Chiefs looked really good in this one, though. That offense is explosive. It's got to be the offensive coach, Matt Nagy, that's really turning this team up. What do you think, Austin?
Chiefs successor, Matt Nagy. Thank you very much, according to rumors. God, the internet will light on fire if he were to pass the team down to Nagy instead of Bieniemy.
Oh my God.
What is this passing the team down thing anyway? Like, Andy Reid's not retiring at the end of the year, right?
No,
there's no chance.
No, it's funny that these stories keep coming up. They have the last 2 to 3 years because Andy Reid is older. But Andy Reid has said that he asked about retirement, and he goes, "Are you kidding me? I have Patrick Mahomes."
Yeah, I don't see Andy Reid considering retiring for another 4 years.
No, and the crazy thing is, like, he's got Spagnuolo. So Spagnuolo takes care of the entire defense. He's got head coaching experience. He only has to be the head coach of half the team.
Yeah,
he's got a cake job with the most talented quarterback, arguably in NFL history, guiding the way. Yeah, I think I'm going to just keep doing that. What's the old Tosh bit?
Yeah,
I'm going to do that as well. Yeah, it's
you're going to pay me just to do offense, right? Yeah, I'm going to keep doing that
for sure. Yeah, it was kind of vintage Chiefs. They struggled a little bit. They bounced back, put up 40, probably could have kept landing on. And if they wouldn't have taken their foot off the gas, this game wouldn't have even been anywhere close.
This game felt like it was over right after the opening kickoff when the Buccaneers fumbled. They just gave them 6 points right off the start.
Bold strategy.
Yeah, especially when Tampa Bay's offense, because they were on that near sideline, you see all of them walk out and then like drop their head like, "Are you serious, man?" And they all turn around and walk off the field of, "I guess we're not playing yet." It kind of, I do think you're right, Hunter, that the wind was definitely pulled out of the sails right off the bat. Probably doesn't help too that they had the hurricane last week, and I know it didn't hit too bad in Tampa, but like all that off the field stuff and them having to go practice in Miami all week and everything probably did make that a little bit of an awkward week. Not a normal week for everyone, but Kansas City still showed up and beat the wheels off them.
Eli Manning last night said what I honestly couldn't agree more. He said that he loved it as a quarterback when he was playing, whenever his special teams would just take a fair catch in the end zone or take a knee and just let the offense set up at the 25. I think going forward, that should be the plan. Every single offense that has a good quarterback should just say, screw it on special teams. We're not letting that beat us. We're going to let the offense go out there and win this game. When you have an offense like the Buccaneers have, you have to go out and set the tone, especially when you're playing the Chiefs. You cannot have any screw-ups whatsoever. I don't know why so many teams try to return the ball. It's like every player thinks they're going to be a hero, which I get it. You're on special teams to make yourself a name to where you can be involved in the rest of the offense. But man, like, you screw your team over so much when you have a mistake like that to begin the game.
Yep.
Little homage to college football. I'd like to interrupt the show to tell everyone that Aaron Judge hit his 62nd home run.
Hey, congrats, Aaron Judge. Moving on to the Monday night game. Los Angeles Rams at the San Francisco 49ers. I locked up the Rams in this one. That's the one lock I got wrong. And you guys, Austin, you spouted out facts last week about how San Francisco was not going to lose this game because it's at home and Sean McVay's record against Kyle Shanahan in the regular season. And numbers speak for themselves. San Francisco walking away with the dub.
I should have put my lock where my mouth is and against it because I didn't do too hot on mine this week. It was Kyle Shanahan just has McVay's number. Like, it's just absurd. I just don't get it. Jimmy Garoppolo hasn't lost to the Rams since he's been on the 49ers. Anytime he started the game, he's won it. Like, I believe it's 7-0 now. It's just.
I just think Jimmy G is that guy. You know, I think he can get them to an NFC Championship game and lose.
Makes him almost. Hey, that's pretty much. Geez, so he's Aaron Rodgers?
No, because he beats him. He's on the team that beats him. Let me phrase it that way.
I just meant the NFC Championship game and losing. That was what I meant.
Gotcha. Yeah. Hunter, any comments?
I'm hitting the panic button for the Rams. This is a red flag. Their offense just looks bad. They don't have a second playmaker outside of Kupp. They're asking Higbee to be that right now.
They should sign a guy for like 40-something million, it was totally another team's fault that he had no production last year, and it had nothing to do with the fact that he doesn't care nor ever run the routes he's supposed to. It definitely didn't have anything to that, and it was entirely an organization's fault. You got anybody in mind?
Yeah, R.I.P. Fantasy owners who took the bait and picked up Allen Robinson in your leagues. I'm right there with you guys.
They traded Robert Woods for a 6th-round pick and spent a ton of money on Allen Robinson.
Yeah,
could have just brought back OBJ.
Could have just kept Robert.
They'll still bring OBJ back. He's not healthy yet.
Robert Woods was so good for that offense. He's one of the best blocking wide receivers in football, and for a guy like Sean McVay that loves to run outside zone, why would you go get a guy that historically does not block at all?
Yeah,
it makes zero sense.
Well, you thought he was going to be dynamic in the passing game, and he's not.
He got all that preseason hype of Allen Robinson's picking up the offense really well. He's looking really good. And then we watch the games, and it's like, oh, Allen Robinson's not involved unless they're inside the 10-yard line.
Yep. No. He's involved. Like, he's out there for a high snap percentage.
Oh, yeah, no, he's on
the field. He's on the field.
Not involved.
Yeah, no, go watch the games and look
to the backside of the play.
You can count on one hand how many times Matt Stafford looks in his direction if they're not in the red zone.
And AJ's right. That's the correct verbiage. Not targets him, looks at him.
Yeah.
Like he just simply
doesn't look in his area.
Yeah.
Because I was watching one night. It wasn't this weekend's game. It was last weekend's. And I was like, why does Allen Robinson not get the ball? And I started looking for where's he lining up? Is he lining up at the top of the screen or the bottom? Okay, this play is on the top of the screen. Stafford drops back, doesn't even look to that side of the field once. He stares down Cooper Kupp the whole way. That's the only person he looks for in that offense. I asked Austin last night, hey, is Matt Stafford bad?
Nope.
I don't even know at this point. He's not great. I'll tell you that. He's not great. At best, he's good.
He wasn't great last year when they won the Super Bowl, though.
Because at this point, he's just looking at one thing. He's just got his eyes locked on Cooper Kupp. And if Cooper Kupp goes down with an injury, this Rams team is going to be garbage unless it were to reinvent itself. Because their entire offense right now is Cooper Kupp.
I would mortgage my future for Allen Robinson in fantasy if Cooper Kupp goes down. You're right. Matt Stafford doesn't look at Cooper Kupp. If Cooper Kupp's gone, he's got to look at somebody.
You're right.
It's just Stafford did this in Detroit. He never had a good second receiver. It was Calvin Johnson, and everything was to Calvin Johnson. He's doing the exact same type of thing. He has supreme trust in Cooper Kupp, so why try to include anyone else?
So are you blaming Stafford, or are you blaming Robinson, or are you blaming McVay for not getting him more touches?
I'm with Austin. Yeah, go ahead, Austin. I agree with Austin, though, for the record on all of this.
Robinson's not good. Stafford has this track record. McVay's not calling play for Robinson. All of them are true. It's a bigger problem that the GM went out and signed him because it made no sense fit-wise to begin with. It's just kind of the old super team in the NBA. We're just going to pile a bunch of guys, even though they might not fit together. But ultimately, this is Super Bowl hangover. The offensive line's a little changed up. Andrew Whitworth retired. Sean McVay's a really good coach. Okay. They're going to get everything figured out. Will they stumble a little bit more? Will they probably lose a couple more games, especially against division teams that know them very well? Probably. Come week 12, 13, 14, they'll start hitting a groove again. The talent will start showing after it's meshed for a while, and everybody will be like, oh, crap, I don't want to play the Rams that are a 4 seed right now.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think that you're right. Super Bowl hangover is a big part of it. And I do think they'll catch a stride later in the season because McVay is just too good of a coach for this team to stay bad the whole year.
I agree, but I'm still hitting the panic button on that offense. Like, Going forward, I will not probably be picking a whole lot of Rams in certain scenarios, especially if they're playing against a halfway decent offense, because they don't look like they could put up more than 25 points in a game right now.
Yeah.
And the defense, though, isn't playing out of their mind either. Like, it's all sides of the ball for the Rams right now.
The other thing I haven't really thought about, remember that whole shoulder injury with Stafford preseason?
Yeah, no one talks about it anymore.
A little bit bigger of a deal than anyone's leading on, because even I just thought about it right now.
I don't see anything with the throws, though.
Yep.
Maybe it's the number of throws. Maybe it's the types of throws. Maybe he can't roll them out because his arm isn't right. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying that could be another factor to what's limiting the offense.
Also, stop trying to involve Cam Akers. Cam Akers is not good.
That offensive line is not good.
Yeah, the offensive line is super banged up. But we can move on because we're going to touch the Rams again here in a little bit. But let's move on to this week's action. Let's get going. Thursday night football. Honestly, the game of the week in Hunter's eyes. We've got the Indianapolis Colts at the Denver Broncos. Denver's a 3-point favorite at home. This one's going to be a real barn burner, as in you're just going to want to jump in a barn and light it on fire instead of watching this game. The Denver spread of 3, I think this game's going to end 3-0, right?
Over-under is 43 somehow. I don't know how it's over 40.
Remember the under. There's no chance.
I really like the over in this game.
Why?
You like the over?
Come on, man.
This game's got weird written all over it. The teams aren't very good. Weird stuff's gonna happen. Reich's on a hot seat. It's just gonna be weird, and it'll end up being like 26-22.
Do you think that this is like when week 8 rolls around, we look back and say, hey, that week 5 game when the Colts offense all of a sudden just clicked and everything made sense and all of a sudden they turned on?
Yeah.
Do you think this is when? Do you think this is that game?
I do think that in week 8 we will be asking who the next head coach of the Indianapolis Colts is. So no, I don't.
On the short week, they just suddenly magically figure it out against the Broncos.
Yeah, all we need to do is not sleep.
If there's any two coaches that I have left, or there's no two coaches that I have less faith in to provide a good game plan on a short week than Nathaniel Hackett and Frank Reich right now.
Yeah.
If the Colts score over 20 in this game, I will be shocked. The Broncos defense should be good enough to keep them well under that number. I'd take the Broncos here by 3 at home for sure. I'm actually locking it up too because I'm just so sick of the Colts at this point.
Ooh.
But playmakers are enough to get this win for the Broncos, in my opinion. But once again, both these teams are not going anywhere at all.
Are you going to eat the Dangerous sandwich, Hunter, Thursday night?
Unlimited sandwich? The unlimited?
He's the cringiest person on the planet. I can't stand it.
Facts.
Let's move on to Sunday's action. Let's start in Minnesota. We've got the Chicago Bears going up north to visit the Vikings. Minnesota's a 7-point favorite in this one. Austin, do you think that the Bears each week are, because I know you've kind of mentioned how you like the coaches and the game plans they're going into games with. Do you think that they're going to come out with one of those heavy run offense game plans, or do you think this is going to be more of a balanced approach because they want to get Justin Fields going? What do you see with the Bears offense? What do you predict with the Bears offense this weekend?
Well, their only good offensive lineman got hurt, got his leg rolled up on. So Fields was pressured 51% of the time last week after Whitehair went out. On the season, he's being pressured more than any other player. Turns out only adding a backup guard from another team is not enough to fix your offensive line. But they're calling a balanced game. They really are. The problem is the Fields won't throw the freaking ball. He got a little better last week. Plays he wasn't pressured on. He went 10 of 14 for 140 yards. They just got to get him a little bit more protection, and he's got to keep growing a little bit. But this team is not going to win a ton of games, and they definitely aren't winning this week.
You can tell that he was told that he needs to start throwing the ball downfield more. He definitely made an effort to do that.
Yeah.
Like the play to Mooney, for example,
Yep.
Where has that been? Why hasn't Mooney
He just
been
won't throw
more?
it. He just won't throw it. I mean, he's had lots of chances, especially to St. Brown, deep down the field, and he just isn't taking them. Like I said, he got a little better last week. That's all I can ask. This team isn't making the playoffs. They're not winning a ton of games. The Fields just get a little bit better each week. It'll give me some optimism for next year.
That stat line you read, Austin, just makes me feel like it's a comfort thing for Fields right now.
Yep.
He's just got to feel comfortable in the offense, and he'll play better, because you're right. When he was protected, he didn't look bad at all. He looked solid. He made some really nice throws when he is protected. When he's not, I mean, some of those are play action rollouts where he's just getting sacked right off the, right after play fake. But,
Yeah. I mean, it's like you said, it's trust big time. The Bears center allowed 7 pressures this week, which was the second most in a game in the NFL, and 3 more than any center has allowed all year. It was absolutely brutal. And there was a couple plays rewatching some of it that the guy gets beat or starts to get beat, but another lineman helps out so that, the pressure doesn't come right in Fields' face, but he's already panicked because he saw the guy get beat and he's already leaving the pocket. And I watching the game originally, I was like, what are you doing? And then you watch those replays from the other angle and you're like, oh, that's what you're doing. You thought the guy that sucked all day was getting beat yet again. And so you left. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. I do still think it's a team issue. I do think Fields needs to keep progressing, but I just think Austin, the pieces around him are just still too bad.
They are very bad.
How about the Vikings last week, giving, in honor of the Queen, a double doink to the London fan base?
That was the Saints who provided it, but it was Minnesota that got the W off of it.
Yeah.
It was nice, though, that Justin Jefferson came back to life for fantasy owners, and London got to see that. So pretty sweet game for them. And they got the Red Rocket, Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton belongs in London to play football. They can just leave him there, and then whatever team goes gets to keep him and start him that game.
Every time they showed a close-up on him, I thought his face was on fire, and then it turned out to be a red mustache.
All-time quarterback in London, Andy Dalton. I love it.
All right, let's move on to the next game. This one might be a head-scratcher for the listeners as to why we're talking about it. Pittsburgh at Buffalo. Buffalo is a 14-point favorite. Kind of a blowout. We don't typically talk blowouts, and we'll get to that game in a second. But we're mainly talking about this game because it was the debut of Kenny Pickett. Did you guys watch any of this debut or gone back and watch any of Pickett's highlights?
Yes, I did. I watched it live.
What'd you think?
Unimpressed so far. They didn't really ask too much of him.
Same
thing with Bailey Zappi.
I think that the Pickett thing looks more like he's making quick reads and getting the ball out more than it is. They're not asking him to do much. I do think they're probably not asking him to do a whole lot, but Michael sent me our friend of the Steelers fan. He sent me a video from last week's game of Pickett taking the snap on top and Trubisky taking a snap on bottom, and the snaps line up and everything, and receivers come open at the exact same time. And with Pickett, the ball's up and out of his hand, and Trubisky's just sitting there staring at it. And they're both just within 5 and 10 yards of him right in front of his face, and he doesn't let go of the ball and gets sacked. I think that Pickett's going to be an upgrade. I think he looked solid in the preseason, and I think he looked solid in this outing. He threw 3 picks. I only blame one of them on him. The first one he threw to that Claypool made a really poor play on the ball. The second one he threw was that was the bad one. He threw it on the sideline. Shouldn't have thrown it. Should have thrown it away. And then the last one was a Hail Mary interception, which we shouldn't even count those. Shouldn't even be a stat. Austin, what did you think?
Why is he getting benefit of the doubt on that first interception? He threw it into double coverage.
Because he's a rookie.
Go look at the play.
Double coverage.
The safety's
There's a
not
safety over the top. Yes, there is.
Second safety. Yeah, he's not there though.
He is over the top. The
He's
second
5 yards away. No, he's 5 yards away. Go look at it.
I did. He's the one that caught the ball. It's really hard to catch the ball. 5
No,
yards
the other one that was the corner that was with him. And Claypool had position on that guy and makes a terrible play on it.
I mean, it's not a great play by Claypool, but it's not a good decision either. I'm just
He
saying,
gave his guy a chance, and his guy didn't bail him out or help him out. That's my problem with it. I didn't think it was a bad ball. I thought it was actually a really well placed ball because Claypool had position. But anyway,
I think we're focused on the wrong thing here. We should
Austin
be
and
talking
I are
about
just yelling at each other.
We should be talking about why the heck did Mitchell Trubisky start a single game for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Why do teams do this thing every single year we see it? A team will draft a rookie quarterback that has a lot of potential, the fans are excited about, can't wait to get him in there, and then we're also going to bring in either a free agent, a veteran, or somebody that we know for sure is not the answer. And about week 4 or 5, maybe later in the season, if we're lucky, we're going to kick him out the door and we're going to bring in the new guy. Why do we do this every year? Why not just let the rookie play the whole season?
It's called a bridge quarterback, and it's for the rookie to allow them to get their feet wet, just and kind of experience the NFL a little bit before they are asked to be thrown to the wolves with a bad offensive line.
Thrown to the wolves? They haven't played anybody this year yet.
Hey, respectfully, Hunter, you don't get to talk about how people should handle rookie quarterbacks because you never have to watch them. So as the resident watching shitty quarterbacks, AJ and I get to talk about this. Because you sit a guy and he becomes Aaron Rodgers. That's clearly how it works, guys. Come on now. We have this figured out. If he sits for a while, he becomes Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. That's the only thing. Or Patrick Mahomes. Those are the things that work. And if you don't sit them, they can't become Tom Brady because he didn't sit for a while first. Obviously, Hunter.
Thanks for educating me.
Yeah, dude. Even Patrick Mahomes sat out for a season.
Yeah, dude. Kenny Pickett should have started the last game of the first season, and then he would have been great. But they screwed it all up.
He really got to absorb a lot of knowledge from Mitchell Trubisky in those 3.5
There it
games.
is.
Yeah. You go back to the
point,
film room on Monday or Tuesday, whenever it is, and you hear a lot of what not to do by watching Mitch's game tape, and a lot of pointing going, hey, the guy's open right here. And Pickett's like, yeah, the guy is coming open right there. And then Pickett steps onto the field on Sunday, and what happens? Oh, wow, look, the ball's coming out on time. He's making good reads, and he's anticipating throws. I'm not saying the guy's going to be great, but he looks like a solid piece right now, and we have to see more. But I don't think he's bad, and I don't know. I'm not saying Pittsburgh's even going to win this game or make it close because Buffalo should blow them out of the water. But that's what we really wanted to talk about with this game.
Pittsburgh won't win anything until they have a quarterback. I don't know why they didn't address or give him an opportunity 4 weeks ago. That's what I'm saying. But
just told you, because he can become Aaron Rodgers if he sits, dude.
Yeah. There's just a special little something in the sauce, dude.
This is professional football, though, man. Like, how do you? I don't know. Some of these decisions that I'm an anti-Mike Tomlin guy. I've been anti-Mike Tomlin for a minute now.
That's
decisions like this, I don't get it. Anyways,
Mike Tomlin hasn't had a losing season ever, so I'm not gonna ever question what that guy's doing.
If Mike Tomlin coached the Packers, he would have 7 Super Bowl rings.
Yeah.
It's honestly probably true. That's how bad our coaching has been.
Yeah, dude, and you're throwing shade towards Mike Tomlin,
of which
hush your mouth.
Not to just completely segue the conversation real quick, but I love all these stories coming out now of games that Aaron Rodgers or how he changed the offense or how he was actually calling plays in certain games and how Mike McCarthy was basically completely thrown to the side. So not that far into his tenure with the Packers. That's how bad he was. Anyways, let's move on, please.
We are moving on. We're moving on to Green Bay. I'm going to let you keep talking, Packers.
Okay.
Giants are playing not at Lambeau. They're playing in Green Bay gets to be the home team in London. Green Bay favored by 8 over the pond. Hunter, go ahead. Talk Packers.
I don't know why they're favored by 8 in this game when we clearly
The Giants suck.
have a long ways to go on offense. The Giants don't suck, man. What are you talking
Yes,
about?
Yeah, they do.
Good
Yes, they do.
Lord.
Yeah, don't tell me you're a Giants. This team, it's magical. It is like the power of Disney right now that the Giants have 3 wins.
Why do you say that, though? Why?
Because they're not good. I've watched. Yeah, thank you, Austin.
They play
Watch the football games.
They play defense and run the ball well. That's a team that's halfway decent.
And they don't play good teams.
Very true. They're also in a division that doesn't have any good teams.
That doesn't matter in this game, and that doesn't matter. That doesn't make them a good football team. First of all, bet the under in this game if you're going to bet it. Jesus, both these teams are going to run the ball. Aaron Rodgers doesn't care when he's at home. He's definitely not going to care when he has to fly across the world to go play in a football game.
Oh yeah, he does not care about playing in London.
We're going to speed this game up. This is going to be the fastest game played of the weekend time wise. And Green Bay will figure out how to win, but they're not going to cover.
Yeah.
And by the way, Daniel Jones is banged up, so I'm sure they'll get to play Tyrod Taylor instead of Daniel Jones,
which might be an upgrade.
I didn't.
Wait, you just called them good and then said their backup quarterback is better than their starter?
Tyrod Taylor.
That quarterback is. At this point, how can you justify anything you see from Daniel Jones at this point? They're winning in games in spite of him.
Have you ever seen Tyrod Taylor play football?
I know he's bad.
First of all,
he hands the ball off really well. One of the best at handing off the ball in the NFL, I might say.
It's also an 8-point spread because Daniel Jones is out with the ankle injury or limited, and Tyrod Taylor went down with a concussion. So they might be playing a third-string quarterback. Yeah, like they might be going out there with some London Joe out there like, hello, I'll toss the pigskin.
They should just play Saquon at Wildcat like they did at the end of the game last week.
Yeah.
I actually, off topic. I'll tell you guys about that later.
Also, how does a team not have more quarterbacks on their roster dressed and ready to go? We see this every year with some teams.
3.
Huh?
Ridiculous to waste a third roster spot on a quarterback.
The third quarterback and a backup kicker are 2 things I think every team should have on their sideline every game. Every year, a team loses a game because of one of those 2 reasons, that they run out of quarterbacks or they run out of kickers.
Is this really what we're talking about right now?
When he say this, and he's just like, preach. That was for my dad right there. So let's move on.
All right. I'm glad we can move on from that. Anything else, Austin?
This is just an asinine take. But if you're to your third quarterback, your roster isn't good enough to still win the game. You weren't winning the game to begin with. Also, if your punter can't kick a chip shot field goal, what are we doing?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's my thing is why can't your punter also kick a field goal?
Get a new punter.
Yeah.
Also fair.
Or get a new safety.
Moving on.
Chiefs did. All right. Chargers, Browns. Chargers are a 3-point favorite in Cleveland. Hunter, I know I think you said you wanted to talk Browns.
Yes.
Let's hear you talk some Browns. Let me hear it.
The Browns should be 4-0 going into this game, and it's a huge missed opportunity, and it's going to derail their season that they're not. All the teams that they've played so far should have been blowout wins, and they have not been because of, honestly, various reasons. Like, I don't think
you were so right.
What do you think? Is
coaching?
Coaching?
Terrible.
Yeah, he's right. It's coaching.
Because Brissett doesn't look terrible at all.
No,
it's not terrible.
Yeah, I loved your build-up. I thought we were going to be in unison in everything that happened, and then you said you didn't know why.
Defensively,
right.
They haven't been good enough, but you're putting that all on coaching?
The vast majority of it, yes. And Myles Garrett deciding to drive his car off a cliff. But that's another story. They're going to win this game, though. They just are. The Chargers are allowing 5.4 yards a carry. 5.4 yards a carry. Nick Chubb's gonna have 150 yards in this game.
That's if Stefanski hands him the ball, though.
Oh, he will. Because Nick Chubb might kill him.
Joey Bosa won't be there for this game either.
Correct. They are going to absolutely run the ball down their throat. Herbert still hasn't looked fantastic. I understand he's hurt, but he hasn't looked fantastic. I have complete faith in Cleveland to win this game outright, much less cover the spread, and I'm locking it in.
This is when the Browns' schedule gets a little bit friskier. They got the Chargers at home, they've got the Patriots at home, then they go to Baltimore, then they host Cincinnati, then they go to Miami. We don't know what Tua's situation will be, but then at Baltimore, and then they host Tampa Bay before they get Deshaun Watson back. So this is the part of the schedule, though, that does pick it up. Those were 4 games, and they definitely needed to win those games. I mean, going 2-2 and losing to the Jets and the Falcons. And the Falcons, you guys have heard me say, and I don't even really know if I've said it on the podcast much because we don't talk much Falcons, but I think they're a frisky team and they're fun to watch. I knew going into this week, I was like, no chance I'm locking up the Browns or even think the Browns are going to win, because this is the typical game that this Kevin Stefanski Browns team era loses. A team with a frisky offense that, isn't great. They just find a way to lose against them. And you lose to Marcus Mariota. I'll let you talk here again in a second, Austin. You lose this game to Marcus Mariota, and his stat line was 7 of 19 for 139 yards and 1 pick. This Falcons offense was garbage, and they just ran the ball down their throat at the end of the game, and that was how they won. Gave up 202 yards on the ground. Terrible.
Yeah, but they don't have to worry about it this week.
Yeah.
Chargers are not going to run the ball a ton. Slater's out. Bosa's out. Although their left tackle that came in and replaced Slater was absolutely phenomenal this weekend. 6th-round rookie. He was lights out.
He replaced the other guy that was bad last season that I can't think of his name right now.
He was awesome. So
yes,
give him a little love. But it doesn't. Yeah, this is going to be another super fast-paced game in actual minutes, not in football terms. I think this is going to be a game where Cleveland can eat up the clock. Brissett makes a couple throws, and then the only shot the Chargers have is Herbert playing hero ball at the end when they're down.
I hate that I have to make a pick. I feel like now because of you guys both make picks. I'm also going to go with the Browns in this game because of the reasons that you just mentioned, especially on the injury side. But I do think the Chargers are trying to actively make the running game a part of their offense again. We saw that last week. Them trying to get Eckler more involved again, and he's too good not to be involved. So it's naturally one way or the other. He's going to be a part of the offense, whether it's passing game or running game. But the ground game needs to exist for this team to have balance. They can't just rely on Justin Herbert's arm the whole way through. Dude, I just struggle with this Browns team because their season really is just going to be derailed because they should be 4-0 going into this game. And now, like AJ, you said, their schedule gets tougher from here. If they don't start winning some of these tough games going forward, their season's going to be over quicker than I even expected.
Yeah. And Hunter, you locking up Cleveland makes you and Austin lock it up. So I figured I need
it up. I'm not locking it up. I'm picking them. I'm not locking it up.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to make a pick every game. Jeez.
Yeah.
Slow us down, why don't you?
Yeah. I thought you were locking them up. I even typed it in and everything.
Wow.
But I guess because of your confidence in it, though, I'm going to fade it and I'm going to lock up the Chargers this week. So, Austin, we got a little bit of a lock off.
All right. Chargers give up the second most points in the second half of any team in football, behind only the Detroit Lions, who are trash.
I think the Browns give up the most points in the fourth quarter. So I think we're pretty even
they're
there.
They're not even in the top 10 for points in the second half. So I don't know that's.
I think it's because all of the points they give up in the second half
are in the fourth
quarter.
Also worth to mention, we haven't had that meltdown game from Brissett yet, and it's coming at some point, so be on the lookout for that.
All right. I will be on the lookout for it.
Jab at Jacoby.
Yeah, I know.
Next game on the list, we've got the Miami Dolphins at the New York Jets. I know why we're talking about this game. Miami's 3-point favorite. We've already talked the Tua situation. Teddy Two Gloves is getting the start. Hunter, You were pretty intrigued by the New York Football Jets. They looked a little bit frisky. Your Zach Wilson love starting to show again? You want ready to come out of the woodwork with your Zach Wilson love?
Just a little bit here, just a little bit. Coming out the woodwork, I feel like I've been pretty vocal on how I like.
You have been,
Zach
but
Wilson.
you haven't. There's been no Zach Wilson talk for like the whole second half of the season last year.
Jumped off the boat.
Did I completely jump off the boat in his rookie season?
Publicly.
I don't think I jumped off the boat. I would love if we pull up that quote again. I'll eat crow on the next episode. But,
gross.
But this Giants team,
so much soul, man.
This New York Jets team is frisky. I'll give them that. I still don't like them, but I do like them to be a backdoor cover type of team. So I will not be picking against them in this game or anything like that.
I really like them. I like the backdoor cover.
No, seriously though. For betting though, I'm staying away. But this Dolphins team has way too much talent. They should win this game handedly. I'm really interested to see what the offense looks like with Teddy Bridgewater though, because if it's the same offense that we have with Tua, because Tua, let's be honest, Tua's not being asked to do a hell of a lot more than he was last year. They're trying to make him throw down the field a little bit more than usual, but he's still just getting the ball to the playmakers, and they're making the big plays. So is that what we're going to see with Teddy Bridgewater this week? Probably. I don't really see why their offense would slow down a whole lot now that Tua's not out there. Sorry.
I think it'll look pretty much the same, but like mirrored, because now it's going to be a right-handed quarterback.
Good addition to the podcast, AJ.
You asked if it was going to look different. That's the only difference I see, because I think you're spot on. I think that it's just going to be Teddy distributing the ball. I think that's all Tua does. Tua just does it very accurately.
I have big time worries for the Jets giving up some big plays here. They give up the 8th most yards per attempt. And with Hill and Waddle on the other side, that there could be some big touchdowns ahead.
Let's move on. That will be a fun game though to keep an eye on this weekend, but I don't like touching it either way. Scared of Hunter's Zach Wilson covering his backdoor or whatever he said. Next on the list, we've got the Dallas Cowboys at the Los Angeles Rams. Rams are 4.5-point favorites in this one, and we already talked a lot of Rams, but let's talk a little bit about them Cowboys. Hunter, is Cooper Rush the starter going forward?
No. Stop it.
Austin and I, hang on, just going
be the starter going forward.
Yeah, just for reference, Austin and I are on that side too of freaking out of saying no. I just wanted to phrase it that way.
It drives me nuts. Though.
Like the media.
How many more weeks of this before it's a first take segment literally every single week?
Is it already? Been.
Yeah,
yes.
It has been.
Let's go. Gosh.
So Austin, let's have the conversation I think we were having last night of why do coaching staffs say, oh man, our starter went out, let's throw in our backup. Well, we better simplify the game plan. Why isn't it just simple from the beginning?
I got no idea.
If
it's like
Dak Prescott comes back and they call the same plays or like the same kind of plays that they're calling for Cooper Rush, this team is going to be just fine offensively.
Yeah. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Mm-hmm. I've never understood this. This has been one of my long-standing gripes with NFL coaches is that why does the offensive coordinator have to try a lot harder when the starter's out? Why aren't you trying the whole time?
Yeah, why are we overthinking it?
Yeah, why aren't you being creative while still simple with the starter in it?
It's not trying versus not trying. It's putting more pressure on your quarterback because you paid him all this money and now he's supposed to be making plays.
Why purposely make it harder?
I agree.
That
the best that Dak Prescott has ever been was his rookie year when he was not asked to do a whole lot and then could create off of what he was already doing very easily.
That's how it works for most quarterbacks, though.
Yeah.
Most guys are pretty good quarterbacks.
That's what Patrick Mahomes does best.
Yeah, like people don't. And again, it's coaching. Andy Reid, why he's one of the best offensive minds ever. his trick plays work so well because he blends them with the easy stuff so well. That's why that stuff works so much more for Andy Reid than it does anyone else.
It's not overly complicated. Yes.
Yeah, and it's all flowed. It all makes sense. Whereas other teams are like, we're going to run a flea flicker out of the I formation when we haven't ran I formation in 4 weeks. And it's
4 years, Austin.
It's
2022.
Drives me nuts when I just don't get it. Why make his job harder?
Teams find their quarterback and then they suddenly are just like, all right, work here is done. Pack it in.
Yeah, let's expand our offense
and figure it out.
Add some sophistication to it. You don't need to add sophistication to it. Just keep it simple. I don't know. I don't get it. It's bad. Yeah, that's all we have. That's really all we had to say for that game.
Rams,
I don't think. Go ahead. Yeah.
Should put it
more
together
Rams talk. Yeah.
The Rams should put it together this game. Will they? Probably not.
Why should they? Why should they? Because that defense.
Because they're playing the Cowboys, and the defense should be enough to slow down the Cowboys and Cooper Rush to where they can manufacture enough points to win a game. But
this seems like the exact kind of sneaky upset that Dallas has been doing the past couple weeks.
If I could have
Austin, this Cowboys defense
7 locks,
the Rams,
I would lock the Rams up. I just like other games more.
You don't think Micah Parsons walks away from this game having 8 sacks and Matt Stafford is just beyond pissed off that he can't look at anybody besides Cooper Kupp and before he's sacked?
Because I have faith that Sean McVay knows how to coach better. They will figure out if they can figure out a way. And don't get me wrong, Micah Parsons will still make an impact because he is one of the top 3 defensive players in football. They're going to limit him. They're going to get right. Trayvon Diggs is going to get torched for a touchdown in this game. It's got it written all over it. This is probably game of the week.
Probably.
And he's going to get torched in prime time. That's what happens. I love the Rams this week. Love them.
Yeah, let's not forget that Mike McCarthy is still on that sideline.
Yep. And also, back to your Jacoby Brissett shot, I'll take the same one at Cooper Rush. That's coming.
Yeah, it is.
It's coming, and it's going to be ugly. And it might happen with the hands of Aaron Donald wrapped around him as he slams him down.
All right, game where I like the under as well, if you want free money.
Let's move on to Sunday Night Football. We've got a battle of the AFC North. We've got Cincinnati at Baltimore. Baltimore's a 3-point favorite, and both of these teams need a win. Is this going to be one of those, hey, we need this game, ugly games for both teams, where both teams kind of slop their way through it and one of them wins, like every Sunday night game has been so far? Or is this going to be the first good Sunday night game of the season?
Hammer the over. Hammer it. Joe Burrow's going to 400.
Yeah, actually, man, I kind of want to lock this up because everyone's been taking away the deep ball from Baltimore, or everyone's been taking the deep ball away from Cincinnati this season, and Baltimore gives up massive plays and sucks against the pass. So I could see
the
Bengals torching them.
Joe Burrow did it last year. He threw for 530 yards against them.
Yeah. You don't have it locked up either.
I know. That's why I told you I want 7 locks this week. I love the slate. Love it.
But Austin, you got to remember, man, this is week 5 now. The Sharps know what they're doing.
Don't care.
Don't care?
You're probably right. Still don't care. Cincinnati, everything. I absolutely love Cincinnati here. Longer week to prepare as well because they played on Thursday night. But Baltimore had to play in that gross weather, getting beat up by Buffalo. Yeah, love Cincinnati here.
While we're talking about Cincinnati, what did you guys think of the white jerseys?
Oh my God, I told you.
Yeah, those things. Those things looked
The jerseys were
the whole thing. Well. Yeah,
wasn't a big fan of the B. Thought the B was too much white. The end zones were cool, but I thought the B should have still been orange.
Cool.
Yeah, the end zones were super cool. I thought the B should have still been orange.
Yeah. I did like the end zones, and I feel like Cincinnati should be law that they have to wear those in any primetime game they play.
Yep.
Baltimore is a 3-point favorite in this game, which says Vegas doesn't even know who to pick in it, so they're just leaving it up to You guys figure it out. I side with the Cincinnati just because, or side with us. I side with Cincinnati here just because of what I saw from Baltimore last week and their offense kind of going to shambles, basically after what?
Non-existent.
Yeah, non-existent after what the first
multiple
quarter.
times, by the way.
Yeah,
this is a pattern now.
But we were talking about Lamar Jackson. We didn't on the podcast. People have been talking about Lamar Jackson being the MVP favorite going into the last week's game. Does he not just respond and come right back to who he was before this week? Because he was playing lights out.
It was, and it was really rainy, and it was hard to play. I mean, you saw quite a few. Josh Allen's gigantic, and he never really gets balls batted down, but he was getting balls batted down. It looked like the ball was slipping out of his hand. I'm sure the same thing was happening for Lamar. I would hammer the over. I think there's going to be a ton of points scored in this game. All of the primetime games have gone crappy and low scoring. I think if you're looking for a betting edge hunter, I think it's probably there. I don't know the current line.
I love it too. I think Cincinnati found last week against the Dolphins that they need to involve T. Higgins more in this offense. Jamar Chase, great player. Last year showed it. Explosive. You get him the ball, he can take it to the house from the 1-inch line if he wants to. But you still have to be balanced on offense, and I think T. Higgins is just such a complete receiver that you can't not involve him. You have to be balanced with those two guys because if they're going to be leaning Jamar Chase's way, you have to involve T. Higgins in the offense. So if they're doing that going forward, I think offensively they'll be fine. Still got to protect up front. Always going to be that struggle for them. But Go ahead, Austin.
I don't know if it's a hot take or not, but I think T. Higgins is a better receiver. I think Jamar Chase is a better player.
Fair enough.
I think Jamar Chase is a guy that you just get the ball in his hands, and let him figure it out. I think T. Higgins is one of the most underrated receivers in football.
Yeah, he's a really good route runner.
A really good route
Great
runner.
hands.
He's big. He's fast. And he came out at like 19, I think, into the draft. So it's like it wouldn't surprise me if he's like 22 or 23 right now.
Also,
probably not 19.
One
that
of
was
the
an
few
over-exaggeration.
receivers that has an 80s number still. Love that.
Shout out T. Higgins. Love the 80s numbers.
All right. Well, that kind of wraps it up for our show today. That's all of our game picks. Hunter.
No, it's
let's
not.
Hear you what are you talking about?
That's not all of our game picks. We haven't talked about any of these.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah. That's all the games we're going to discuss. Austin, since you are so smart, why don't you run us through your locks of the week?
I had Cleveland. The other two games we didn't talk about. New Orleans. I'm locking up New Orleans. Seattle coming off of a good emotional win. Big letdown spot there. Also, interesting spot here, which almost made me not lock it up, but no one has played the week after they played in London since 2017. So it'll be kind of interesting to see what New Orleans does there. But Jameis didn't have to travel. Jameis will be back. Seattle's defense gives up the most chunk plays in the passing game. And I really like Olave and the other receivers there to get some big chunk plays and be able to take care of business. And then Tampa Bay, Tom Brady just owns Atlanta. Absolutely owns Atlanta. He's 9-0 in his career. Since he's came to Tampa Bay, he's averaging 358 yards passing and 3 3.75 of a touchdown in his 5 meetings. He is absolutely going to shred them. This is their get right game, and they're going to win this game by a ton.
Echoing that, I'm locking up the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well. Tom Brady has absolutely owned the Atlanta Falcons, like you said. But even more than that, they've had a couple games here now where they have let it slip offensively. I think they come out and slaughter them. My second game,
2 picks, Hunter.
Yeah, my second game that I'm locking up as well. I already said Denver was my other pick too. Tennessee Titans going against the Washington football team, Commanders, whatever you want to call them. They're frauds. They're terrible. Whatever you want to call them, let's call them terrible. Tennessee is
might be the worst team in the NFL.
The most inconsistent team for sure with their quarterback play so far this year. Carson Wentz looked like a god 2 weeks into the season.
Give me Heineke.
give me Heineke. Seriously.
Sign me up all day for some Heineke.
We need to see Gardner Minshew at some point this season too.
They're
What?
gonna.
I know.
Listen, he plays for Philly, but
I know he plays for Philly, but it's not going to be a complete NFL season if we don't see him at some point too. But no, Tennessee should kick the doors off of them. I mean, they've been moving offensively. They've found their identity again, running the football. So stick to it. You're fine.
All right. I also locked up Tennessee. I think Washington's real bad. Not as bad as the jerseys they wore last week, but I do
hot
think they're
take.
bad. I don't care for the jerseys, Austin. The all black ones, they weren't terrible. I didn't care for like the font and the number, like how it had like the, I don't even know, the pixeliness. You know what
Yeah.
I'm talking about? Okay,
Yep.
yeah, I didn't care for that part of it.
I like
they were
that
still
for
better
once.
than the Saints black helmets, though.
Yeah,
That
not-
is
not
the
a fan of
Saints.
those at all.
That is the Saints trying to be the Dirty Birds Atlanta,
Why-
and they shouldn't try to be that.
I wouldn't hate that helmet for New Orleans if they went with the blackout jerseys. It made no sense with the white helmet or with the white jerseys.
It should
It
be a
looked
white
terrible.
helmet, though. That's what I was going to say.
Oh, yeah,
Is
for
it
sure.
should be. If it was a white helmet with gold stripes, that would be super clean.
Yep.
But you know what, Austin? They don't ask us to do that. You know,
Idiots.
they don't hire us for their marketing. But whatever.
Really dumb. I'd
Oh,
work
well.
really cheap.
They need an
Yeah.
aesthetics team, and you guys need to be the hirees
Yeah.
for that.
I think we could do that pretty well. The other game I have locked up is the Detroit Lions at New England. Detroit is scoring hella points this season. And the Patriots are not. And the Patriots might be without Mac Jones again and could be without Brian Hoyer. And it could be a Bailey Zappi against the Detroit Lions, who are scoring oodles of points. I like the Lions to win this one outright.
Lions number 1 in offense and number 32 in defense.
Absolutely. Most entertaining team in football right now. Tell me I'm wrong. Yeah, that's what I thought. No one wanted to tell me I was wrong.
I don't think anybody cared enough to.
No, they don't. They don't. But if you're just like if you're not really a fan of a team and you're like, but you are a fan of football, watch Detroit Lions games. I don't think I've ever said that before, but they're fun to watch.
This game has push written all over it. New England winning by a field goal.
Yeah, that too.
And it's going to be 48-45.
There is nobody in the history of football more than the 2022 Lions that can lose by a field goal to all 31 other teams.
And look impressive doing it.
Yeah. Hunter, what did you think of the? I'm going to give you one more chance to pronounce the name of the beer. How was it?
I took one sip, man.
What are you talking about?
I took one sip. I did not like this beer. Sorry.
Wow. I'm sorry, Oberon.
And I
and
talked
Bells.
up this brewery.
I love
they
Oberon
under-delivered.
Bells. If I had mine here, I'd have pounded it down. It would have been gone within the first 10 minutes. Yeah, that's why my wife drank it. She just said.
Yeah, I'm surprised, Hunter. That's a pretty popular beer up here where I'm from.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I did
very,
not enjoy
very
it.
popular around here.
Yeah. Oberon is very good. Hunter's opinion doesn't matter on today's show. Hunter, if it was in my fridge, dude, I'd have grabbed it.
If it was in your fridge, your alcoholic wife would have grabbed it.
It's not. All right. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for today's show. Until next week, everybody, take it easy.